How's it going, YouTube? It's SMSnakes125 here again with another video, and I apologize for the lack of videos. However, I will be making more videos soon, so look forward to that. Today I will be talking about my California Kingsnake care. This is my black and white California Kingsnakes enclosure. It is a 20-gallon long. It is 30 inches long, I believe 12 inches deep, and 12 inches high. And up there she has her lighting system right there. That is a 75 watt daylight blue bulb, and over here that is a 100 watt infrared red bulb, but I have it on a rheostat, if you can see over there. Right there. That's my rheostat, so it's dimmed down so I can have like the perfect temperature. And we'll be starting off with Kingsnake Availability. Kingsnakes are a very common type of pet snake. They are very easy to acquire. However, I do not recommend buying your Kingsnake from big chain pet stores such as Petco, Petland, PetSmart, because most of the employees there don't even know how to look after a snake, let alone anything else. And but I do recommend buying from local mom and pop shops that usually breed their own snakes, or big breeders like Reptiles by Mac, which is where I got my Kingsnake from, and BHB. Kingsnakes are beautiful snakes that come in a huge variety of colors, morphs from the light yellows to the dark blacks. And mine, I have a video on her, so you can go check that out. See what she looks like. She's about almost 2 foot long and about 36 grams, feeding on frozen thawed fuzzies, and she is about 8 months old. And right now she's in her warm hide sleeping, that turtle hide right there. She's her warm hide sleeping. And housing. For a hatchling or juvenile, I recommend housing them in a 10-gallon tank for because 10 gallons are usually the correct size for them. And I did have my Kingsnake Dakota in a 10-gallon, which is back there. Back there, but since I saw this at Petco and it was Christmas, so and they had the 20 gallon sale, $20 a gallon, like dollar a gallon sale. So I bought that and gave her a bigger enclosure, and she's been doing great. So yeah, and you can also house them in Sterilite tubs and rack systems. But if you have a small amount of snakes and you want to showcase them, usually tanks are the way to go. And the nice thing about this tank is the screen right now. That is a sliding screen with a lock on it, so it's not one of those just screens that go on top of the enclosure. So there's no way she can get out of that. And the pros and cons of tanks and tubs are that tanks can stress out a hatchling kingsnake because of the 4 glass sides. So you have to have at least 2 hides or more, and a lot of cover. That's all the fake plants. That's all the cover she has. She feels very secure in there. And in the tub, it is not as aesthetically pleasing, but it can be a very good enclosure because it holds heat and humidity very well. Decor. For any snake, you have to have at least 2 hides, one on the hot side and one on the cold side, and one in and you can have a login to help them shed, which is under all those plants right there. You can see it right about there, on top of the cold hide. That's a big log that goes all the way over here, and she uses that to shed. And for substrate, the substrate I have on right now is Aspen Sandy Chips, just because it's easy to spot clean and it's very cheap and affordable, and it holds fluids very well, very easy to clean. And now I will be talking about the heating and lighting. For Kingsnakes, it is very easy to accommodate for their needs. They do not need any UVB lighting, so that is great. You don't have to spend all the money on buying a UVB light every couple of months. And Kingsnakes are cold-blooded, which means that they can't regulate their own body temperature, so they need an external source of heat to control their body temperature. There's many types of heating sources, such as heat mats, heat bulbs, or heat rocks. Heat mats are great sources of belly heat, and probably the most popular source. I have a 10 to 20 gallon heat mat right there, covering just the hide, and you can also use overhead lighting just to light up your enclosure and make it look a little bit more natural, and let everyone see your snake. Basically, that's why I have it there. I usually have that on 12 hours a day. Have this one on 12 hours a day, and this one 12 hours of the day. Stumbling with my words here. And you can also use radiant heat panels and all types of others. And there's also a source of heat called heat rocks, which I do not recommend. Even though that they make new heat rocks that fail off, I still do not recommend, because it's electricity inside of the enclosure that the snake can come in contact with, and that is never good. So always make sure that any source of heat is not in the actual enclosure and the snake cannot come in contact with it. And the ambient temperature on the warm side, which is about, let's say this much to the left, that's the warm side, and the ambient air temperature is about 80 to 85, and the hot spot, which is under the turtle hide, that gets to about 85 to 90, depending on the time of day. And if you see over here, let me take you so you can see, I have a thermometer on the bottom of my hot side hide, and it is reading about 86.2 with 41% humidity, and actually she is in there right now. I don't know if you can see her, but I will be making more videos so you can see her and get to know her a little bit better. And their temperament. Kingsnakes are known to be a little bit more defensive, cage defensive, which is what my kingsnake is, but she is completely fine. She just shakes her tail a little bit, but once you get her out, they're just the sweetest thing. I don't have to worry about her ever biting. She's actually never bit anyone, so that's actually great. They're usually very docile, however some individuals can be a little defensive. Remember, there's no aggressive snakes, there are only defensive snakes. Dakota here is not aggressive at all, however when I get her out of the enclosure, as I said, she gets a little bit defensive. However, once I get her out, she is very tame. To tame a defensive snake, you just have to handle the snake, and it will usually work. When I first got Dakota, she was a little bit more aggressive. I was kind of intimidated just because it was kind of new to me. Most of the other snakes I worked with aren't very aggressive. But for right now, Dakota is the only snake that I have, but I will be getting new additions soon. But now she's perfectly tame, nothing to worry about. But the good thing about kingsnakes is that kingsnakes are particularly one of the very good eaters. Most of them feed right off tongues, which is what she does. She coils and everything. She's a very good eater. Right now she's feeding on, as I said, frozen thawed fuzzy mice. Dakota has just I used to do drop feeds, but then one day I just picked up the fuzzy with tongs and she took it off the tongue. So now every time I put her in a feeding box, just because I don't want her to ingest the bedding, and I feed her in a separate container, and it's just a Rubbermaid container that I have, so she won't ingest any of the bedding. And now I will be talking about humidity. When your kingsnake is not in shed, regular room humidity is fine, but when it is in shed, you have to bump up the humidity just a little bit. I usually put a towel over the screen top so the humidity can stay in, and it's usually about 55%, 55 to 60. Like the highest, just don't go too high because then they can have problems like respiratory infection and such. And you just mist down the enclosure and put a wet towel on top. And usually before she sheds, I just give her a bath in this water bowl right here. I give her a bath, and then she usually sheds completely fine. Actually, let me see. I'll be right back and I will get you one of her sheds. And here I have one of her sheds. As you can see, it is about 2 feet long, but when your snake sheds, the skin does stretch a little bit, so don't rely on that as a source of how long your snake is. And as you can see over here, you can see very closely, if you look, there her eye caps are. So you can see, let me see if that would focus, hold on. Well, right there are two little circles. Those are her eye caps. And every time she sheds, you have to make sure that those eye caps come off, because if they don't, they can end up making your snake go blind. And make sure they come off in the tip of the tail too, just because if it doesn't, it will cut off circulation to that part of the tail, and it will drop the tail basically, and it won't regrow. It will look really weird. So that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been SM Snakes 125 with another video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and more videos coming soon. I'll see you guys later.